I mean, I called this audible months ago,
Months
and
ago. I know.
pretty much everybody else did as well. That Tulsi Gabbard was going to bow out, and she released this. Was this yesterday? Yeah, yesterday
Yeah.
at 12 in the afternoon. I am deeply grateful. This is Tulsi Gabbard, former DNI now. I am deeply grateful for the trust President Trump placed in me for the opportunity to lead at ODNI Gov for the last year and a half. Unfortunately, I must submit my resignation effective June 30th, 2026. My husband, Abraham, has recently been diagnosed with an extremely rare form of bone cancer. He faces major challenges in the coming weeks and months. At this time, I must step away from public service to be by his side and fully support him through this battle. And then she's got her actual letter down here. Now, before we get to the comment section, because that's where things are going to get spicy,
Yeah.
uh, let me pick your brain because it sounds like you've already been thinking on this.
Oh yeah. Did you notice? And maybe it's just me, but everybody that actually has resigned on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah, it's choreographed. Absolutely. I don't know why the Friday is the choice here, but last guy out was what, Joe Kent?
Yeah.
And very similar circumstances for their leaving.
Yeah.
I'm just going to come out and say I don't believe this at all. The timing of it is just too perfect with
Suspect.
with the Iran war potentially kicking off again like they ever wanted it to end in the first place. Come on. So I don't buy this. Your husband didn't just miraculously all of a sudden overnight real quick develop bone
Or
cancer. I
or
don't,
maybe he did.
or maybe he did. And that's actually a more
That's the
terrifying
scary part.
prospect
Yeah. Yeah.
because I don't know, like if I was going to believe that this was actually a thing that was happening, the conspiratorial part of my brain goes, did they just fucking give her spouse
Husband.
cancer to get her off the stage real quick?
Yeah.
Like as a little warning shot across the bow. Here's a boo, here's the directed energy cancer device. Directed energy, vibrate your bones and give you a condition real quick. And, we can make this go away, but, you might have to step aside so the war machine can move forward without you.
And tell me they don't do that.
Havana
Tell me they
syndrome.
tell me they don't create diseases to remove people from office.
Well, and not just that, they just used directed energy weapons for that Maduro heist.
Yeah.
And they admitted it. So this isn't conspiracy theory territory. They have this technology. You're going to tell me that if you tune it to a certain frequency, you can give somebody cancer or make it appear like they had it? Come on. I don't buy this at all. Oh, now the comment section. This is going to get toasty. Thank you for being the best of Trump's cabinet picks and true to your campaign promises. My prayers with your husband and for healing and recovery. Yes, the best. The best of his cabinet picks, and that's not exactly a high bar to reach. Exactly. But I'd say I wasn't trying to do it. I'd say out of all of them, what the fuck happened?
Sorry, man.
It's all right.
Technical difficulty.
I'd say out of all the cabinet members that she has been the most consistent.
Yes. So far.
Whereas others have spoken out prior to leaving or even while still holding their office,
Holding their office, yeah.
she has generally held her tongue, and I don't think this has worked out well for her politically. I don't imagine there being a Tulsi Gabbard 2028 presidential run. She's let this run its course for far too long, and I think the damage is too great. Maybe she could pull out of this political tailspin if she spills some beans on the way out the door or a few months down the road.
Don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen either. I think she's just done. I'd be happy to be proven incorrect, though. If anybody, and I've said this many times, I'll say it many times again. I think if the Democrats had run Tulsi Gabbard in 2016 and actually threw their full support behind her, she probably would have won. And we never would have gotten this guy.
Yeah.
And this country would be a markedly different place.
Yeah. But I think they had different aspirations for their candidate that she didn't fit the bill. And that's why they didn't. And that's okay. She did well in the job that she fulfilled for the amount of time that she has, or to my estimation, that she's done a fairly well job. Few things I might have had her do a little differently, but I really think she's gonna take her time and move into the private sector. I think with her background, she could fit into a lot of areas in private companies, corporations, that would do very well for her and for the corporation, and probably make a lot more money than she's been making.
You should have done this when Trump launched an unprovoked war of aggression against Iran for Israel, but you didn't. You lost all credibility by staying after that. Go away, woman. You were just another fraud. And I reshared that one. Take America back. And I'm not going to read some of these because that will get me flagged on YouTube, but feel free to peruse at your own discretion here. Can I just say, I don't want to talk about this anymore, but I can't avoid it anymore because it's everywhere. I don't want to talk about, the nation in the Middle East that we're not supposed to talk about because I know the problems that it brings. But now it's everywhere and it's inescapable. You've got normies talking about this stuff and not in a favorable light for said country, and it's just going to get worse. So I don't know why this I guess we can get into the next topic real quick. Thomas Massie losing his House seat to Ed Galrain. This guy just literally came out of fucking nowhere. And they just bought a position for a politician real quick.
Well, and that's kind of hard to say. Technically, he did run like 8 years ago and lost.
He didn't even debate him. And what is this guy's policies? I don't know anything about him. And
nobody does.
Here he is. Okay, he's elected now. Goodbye, Thomas Massie.
Nobody knows anything about him. He was a Democrat to begin with. And he switched parties just for this particular election.
Hey, look at this comment. Ever consider they gave your husband bone cancer to get rid of you? Because that's the kind of stuff they do. Really makes you think. All right, I got to pull this next one up. Let me see.
I had something I wanted to follow up on that one. But...
I don't know why this is doing that.
A certain leader of a certain nation came out and said, we're losing the social media war. We need to do better. So we're gonna buy up all these companies and we're gonna pay all these influencers to really push our narrative across all the internet.
Yeah, that was like 3-4 months ago.
Yeah. Well, guess what? What they did this past week did more to damage their reputation with our country than any of the social media put together.
This is what I mean. Everybody is talking about this now. And, you know, I can still remember a time, hell, everybody remembers when you could not talk about this. And now everybody is talking about this.
Yeah.
The optics on this are fucking terrible. What? Who is making these decisions, man? They don't understand human psychology. You're trying to force the square peg through the round hole, and you are not going to like the result. Here is the latest example of the Barbara Lerner Specter effect. Barbara Lerner Specter.
Yeah.
Why do we keep doing this, man? I'm so tired. I'm so tired, boss.
I'm sorry, dude. Oh no.
Good thing. If Massie and the people like him and others believe that if you cross the line into anti-Semitism, Jews are going to use the power that we have openly to go for you, because what other recourse is there? Are we just going to sit here and take it, beg for scraps, hope that nice people are nice to us? The Democratic Party is going explicitly anti-Semitic. We can see it happening. People are getting benefits, as Seth says, for being anti-Semites. That seems to be part of an appeal in prime.
Okay. Benefits, like being debanked, benefits like being fired from your job, benefits like basically the entire, like 50% of the world dogpiling you without any nuance whatsoever. It's just you are an anti-person and therefore all your opinions are moot. And then all of the life-destroying elements come into play.
Yeah.
You know, Candace and I think even PPP was talking about this last night, that the tactics used against people's free speech is life ruination. When you do that, when you behave in that manner, you just galvanize people's negative opinions towards said group of people. We cannot have discussions, and therefore it pushes people outwards towards the extremes. And now you've got guys like this who are just openly stating it. Yep, we're going to do the extreme thing that y'all say that we're doing. Yep.
Now, they were doing that before everybody started talking about it. It's just now everybody's talking about it and they're going, oh, okay, well, yeah, we are doing that, by the way, but you know, what can you do to stop us?
Yep, we're in power. Yep, you can't do anything about it. Yep. I don't want to fucking deal with this.
Now, I know you were listening to Stephen and Kyle this morning. I don't know if you were in there when they were talking about that specific topic. It was really interesting, but Kyle brought up basically, you know, if you were to say something about someone, aren't you kind of guaranteed the ability to talk about someone that way? Well, yeah, it's covered by part of the Constitution, or part, you know, it's the First Amendment.
Our founding fathers literally spelled this out in the founding document. If you ever
verbatim, they knew what they were talking about. They knew what was going to happen. My issue with this guy, and when I saw this video, I just went, "You're a friggin' idiot." Okay, number one, anti-Semitism covers more than just Israel. It covers a lot of the Middle East. If you really look up the etymology of the word, it was not centered on Jews. I'm sorry, it's not. And number two, we're not even talking about anti-Semitism. We're talking about anti-Zionism. Totally separate. Sorry.
It's not even that. We can't talk about nation states' behavior towards other nations.
Why? We
And
talk about Russia.
That is the essential. That is the issue that is on everybody's hearts and minds right now.
We
So
talk
we have
about
muddied.
Ukraine. We talk about UK. We talk about Mexico.
Yes.
Why is this any different? We talk about China, but we can't talk about a little country that's not as big as Rhode Island.
It's the mirror test. Do we use this kind of language when we talk about people that are against, I don't know, Japan or people from Chile or South America?
But those people don't
or
have dual
Antarctica?
citizenship in the United States. That's the difference. And who is allowed to have dual citizenship with the United States? You're either with us or you're not. How hard is that? You want to live in that country? Fucking move your ass to that country. Don't live here and say you support them. Because that's not Americanism. I'm sorry, it's not.
I don't have a problem with people supporting folks from country XYZ. It's just when it comes to American decisions, American decision making and politics, we should be focused on domestic issues that affect people here domestically. And that should always come before outside concerns.
Well,
unless those outside concerns are coming to invade us. That's pretty much the only thing that would override that. And that's not what's on the table. It just isn't.
Imposes public disclosure obligations on persons representing foreign interests. It requires foreign agents defined as individuals or entities engaged in domestic lobbying or advocacy for a foreign government, organization, or persons to register with the Department of Justice and disclose their relationship, activities, and related financial compensation. It doesn't prohibit lobbying for foreign interests, nor does it ban or restrict any specific activities. Its purpose explicitly is to promote transparency with respect to foreign influence over American public opinion, policy, and laws. To that end, the DOJ is required to make information concerning foreign agent registrations and their disclosed activities on behalf of foreign principals publicly available. Well, I guess now they're making it public available when they come out and our chief advisor says, "Oh yeah, this so and so loves that country more than this country, but we're taking money from her, and we're going to get all this money from that country to unseat Thomas Massie, $20 million in his primary, the most expensive primary race ever." What the?
Yeah. I'm going to pull the numbers up after this guy's little screed here. But I just, whenever these folks indict themselves at this level, I just feel it incumbent upon myself to play it in its entirety. Because this isn't an isolated incident. The Barbara Lerner Spectra, however you say your name, talk, I think it was a TED Talk years ago, going into how the certain nation would be responsible for multiculturalism spreading across the globe. This was around the same time when Britain was dealing with its influx of migrants from Syria and other parts of the Middle East. And now you look at what the state of the UK right now, these folks want to bring that to here. And that's what was basically going on under the Biden administration. And we're still dealing with the fallout from that. We've not solved that issue, by the way. Despite the, oh my God. Despite the papering over of the Trump administration, we seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties here, folks.
In the party, we have to use what means there are at our disposal. And in my view, and I'm going to put it blank, that is Jewish money. There is an enormous amount of Jewish money in politics, by which I mean Jewish donors, wildly disproportionate, not only charitably, but politically. And when I say charitably, I mean nobody really knows the numbers. Jews make up 2% of the population. According to some studies, Jews make up 20% of the charitable contributions made in the United States annually. That is a tenfold. Think about that. Think about the disproportion of that. And in politics, it's pretty close.
We're thinking about it.
And if that money isn't used,
I didn't want to
why
think
do people
about it.
give money? Because they want to influence elections to get people elected who reflect their views. Well, this is an existential issue for Jews. And the Jews who explicitly give money because they want to make it clear to anti-Semitic candidates that they are going to have to go through a buzzsaw and that they are not going to simply waltz in and be, if they're treated with kid gloves by the New York Times, we are double time going to do what we can to expose who they are, to find out what we can find out about them that will harm them, and that we will do what we can to prevent them from taking office. What other choice does American Jewry have?
Proportionately, this group affects American politics. And it's primarily because we're not allowed to talk about it. And if you do, bad things happen to you. And he's openly stating that that's by design. I hate this topic, man. Not the people. I hate.
But do the
I don't even know how to
Catholics have?
fucking put this to words, because I've seen it absorb people's brains to the point where they just can't see anything else.
Yeah.
And now I see the entire country being steered down this cattle chute.
But do the Catholics have an intelligence agency that kills people?
Yeah. Have you ever read Opus Dei?
Yeah. But
Yeah, pretty much every religious organization has some violent branch to it or history to it, if you look far enough back. But I don't know if there's a current day equivalent.
I mean,
When
So-
Trump ran, the left particularly was saying he's a racist, he's a racist, he's a racist. That mantra was, I remember this all through 2015, 2016, 2017, right
Yeah.
up till around the COVID time. And there's people that are still saying this today.
They still do, yeah.
But, back then, I could see, and most of the people on the right wing could see that. Show me the proof. I first of all, I don't see any proof of that. And second of all, where does that, if he is indeed a racist, affect his policies in a way that's negative to the country?
Yeah.
And they couldn't demonstrate that. And I think that's why he won, among other reasons. Because his rhetoric, he was America-centric, America-focused. It showed in everything that he said. In his first couple years in office, it pretty much played out the way he said that it was going to.
But can you prove it now? Can you show evidence of it now?
We can certainly see bias. We can see bias when it comes to, when the military machine gets wrapped up in things, all of a sudden people's logic breaks down. This administration has stopped trying to justify its actions to the public in a way that actually makes sense.
They don't care. And it's very obvious that, he doesn't care. He said, does not care about the American people's financial situation. All he cares about right now is Iran not having a nuclear bomb.
My point is, the exact same arguments that were levied at Donald Trump back in the 2015, 2016 era when he was running the first time are the same arguments that were being leveled at Thomas Massie. And they were incorrect for the exact same reasons. And more to the point, even if they were correct, show me on the doll where his racism would have negatively impacted American policy. Does anybody believe that we would have had gulags or camps because of his policies? Does anybody believe that we would have gotten BDS sanctions or any other stuff as a result of him being in office for another term?
Not under Massie, no. Not under Massie. Now, under someone else, maybe. That may be coming soon. And that's scary. That's a scary thought.
It's a dangerous precedent to set that we can just buy political offices. And everybody in this country has pretty much suspected that for years now. So you have validated people's fears and concerns with these actions, and now are openly talking about, yeah, that's what we did. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
It went back. It went. Apparently, they did drop some new files, UFO files, yesterday. There's one apparently that shows I think it was an F-35 destroying a UAP. It kind of hit YouTube this morning. Is when I saw it. Again, it's a wiggly dot on a targeting screen. At a distance, you cannot determine what it is but a dot. And what was interesting was the explosion that occurred from our fighter jet firing on that craft or UAP, like shot debris so close to the camera you could almost make out pieces of debris. And I don't think at that distance you should have had debris flying back at the plane. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I think they're still pumping us with fake news, fake files. It's just more distraction for whatever's coming next. I don't know exactly what that will be. We've had several reports just today of activity going on in the Middle East, and a few other places. But the Middle East has actually had some things going on today that are really kind of weird. I don't know if they're ramping up, if they're ramping down, they're getting prepared, or if they're just, popping their own cork, whatever. Um, it just seems to be some very weird stuff going on. I don't know if you guys heard about the chemical. I guess it was a chemical leak, maybe that they found in a specific house. I don't remember the location. I want to say it was in California or maybe Arizona. 3 people were found. Well, there were 4 people found unconscious when the police arrived or EMTs arrived. They were taken to a local hospital. 3 of them expired. 2 of them expired before they got there. 1 expired while in the hospital or upon arrival at the hospital. The 4th is in critical condition. They had given them Narcan for overdose, thinking maybe it was fentanyl or fentanyl hybrid. But unfortunately, for some reason, and the account has risen now this morning to 20 first responders succumbing to some unknown chemical. And they're all in the hospital. They're trying to determine what the chemical is because it wasn't airborne. There were too many people in and out that did not get sick. So it's somehow physically transmitted, which makes me believe a specific thing, and I won't go into it. I don't want to give people ideas, but there is a possibility that it was physically transmitted. It's just very bizarre that we have an unknown substance causing that many people to get sick. And then we had a plane that was diverted from France, I believe, the last couple of days, because of an Ebola outbreak. There apparently was a patient on the plane with Ebola. They're trying to fly that stuff in now. That makes us feel really, really good.
So this is from JD yesterday. Tulsi is a patriot, a great asset to the administration, and a dear friend. I'm sorry to see her go, but certainly understand that family comes first. She and her husband broken. Thoughts and prayers, blah, 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 blah. Okay, whatever. Babylon BB responding, false flag. With Tulsi Gabbard out, Fed's excited to roll out a bunting of false flags. Cuba is preparing to attack the U.S. all of a sudden.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot today. Did you notice the comment that I made about the elite needing a new island close by?
Oh.
That's why they're going for Cuba. Ugh. And it already has kids built in.
Oh, okay. Come on, dude.
I'm just saying.
We're putting the pieces together on the cork board. It's all starting to make sense now.
What they were saying was, well, Cuba has drones. Who doesn't have drones? But what does that mean?
Exactly.
We're really concerned about that?
Is that the new weapons of mass destruction? Oh, they have drones. We have to do something about the drone gap.
Well, we have our $100,000 missiles that we shoot once and lose, or $500,000 missiles that we, shoot once and lose. They're flying $3,000 to $10,000 drones, and they're, taking out all of these large aircraft.
Basically, a Pepsi can with a rotor and a grenade taped to it.
And I saw one over the weekend, last weekend. Someone designed one made out of cardboard, and it actually flies. So the costs now are absolutely very little. Just the mechanical parts and whatever electronics they need. Cardboard is you can pick up in the dumpster at Costco. Life goes on, dude.
Yep. We're just stuck on stupid, man. Cannot help ourselves get out of our own way. And the simplest solution to all of these problems would just be for us to not get involved in the first place.
Well, that would be isolationist, and we don't do isolationism anymore. So,
well, there's still trade. We can still trade with other countries, and we have enough problems with that that would fill up our foreign policy problem sheet for many years to come. If we took all of that expenditure, all of that energy, the mental and financial capital that we're focusing in on warfare and pivoted to trade and industry and innovation, we could probably be colonizing space by now.
Well,
which I thought that was the goal.
We're trying to work on that.
You remember Elon Musk Mars 23 program? Whatever happened to that? We're a little far off
Well,
the mark.
Well, but he said in I think it was 2015 that we were going to have autonomous cars. When did autonomous cars actually come out? 2023. So he was a little off on the mark. He actually knew what he was talking about. He just has the wrong timeline. So maybe that's what the deal is. And that's what I was telling you earlier. You know, the CEOs now are so busy making up their narrative. Sorry.
The problem is we can't stop blowing each other up for longer than 5 seconds to actually getting this stuff done.
Well, they're so busy saying, look over here while they're stuffing the rabbit in the hat. They're giving you a story while they design what they're planning on releasing. And it only goes to make their profit margin so much more. And I understand, you know, getting the most for your money, but come on. Stop filling us full of crap.
Tonight, new video on social media has surfaced of what appears to be inside a warehouse as someone is going around the room starting several fires while talking about their salary.
All you had to do was pay us enough to live.
I came across this local story from Ontario, California that I think should actually be a national story because it could give us a little hint as to where things may go if we continue down this path of unaffordability, low wages, and the rising cost of living. So this is a man that set fire to his warehouse, a warehouse worker, of toilet paper as he complained about how he was not paid enough to live. So,
are you ready? Are you ready, Mr. and Mrs. America? This is just the beginning. This is an old story, I know. I've been meaning to cover this for a while, but it kind of makes me wonder about stuff that Really Graceful was covering. I think it was last year, the year before, about all those the chicken plants and the food plants and all these different warehouses that were catching fire last year and the year before. How much of this stuff has been intentional, and has this been going on longer than it's been actually covered? Or that
probably has been, yes. But this one brings up a good topic as to how wages are in the shitter. Toilet paper factory.
I had to stop the music. I didn't realize. I kind of got used to it playing, and I was like, "Oh, I'll just leave it going." But I don't think it fits here. So
it's a toilet paper factory. You know, wages are in the shitter. I was looking for the poultry joke, but that one hasn't really crossed the road yet.
Aha.
So I'm going to first play for you the raw footage here. This is shared from Roz Alerts of the fire alongside him setting fire to his warehouse. And then I'll get to the local news report discussing it as well. And I'm going to get to some of the reactions to this news story, which reminded me a lot of the reaction to Luigi Mangione.
Should have paid us enough to fucking live. You know, we may not get paid enough to fucking live, but these bitches dirt cheap. All you had to do was pay us enough to live. All you had to do was pay us enough to fucking live. All you had to do was pay us enough to live.
All right. So first, it's important to note that nobody was hurt.
Yeah, I don't think that guy cared about that, like, at all. And when somebody breaks bad, like, that's their entire world on a shoestring paycheck to paycheck lifestyle, crushing debt, probably up to their eyeballs in credit card debt. Like, you're not thinking about that when you're in panic mode. This is human psychology broken. And when this happens on a large enough scale, dude, we have not even begun to see how crazy it'll get.
But don't you think to a certain degree this is engineered at a certain level?
The whole thing is our monetary system is set up so that paycheck workers, W-2 workers, over time are made to accept less buying power for the same labor. Had to move my fan. It was blowing right into my microphone.
Thankfully, and the fire appeared to just be contained to the warehouse itself. I'll get to more details from the local news report from NBC LA that covered this as well. But look, this is the kind of thing that I don't want to predict is going to happen more, but the conditions are ripe.
Oh, it's absolutely going to happen more. I don't want it to. I don't think you want it to either, Logic, but that seems to be the direction that we're going in. We're picking America's government has picked wrong, and it's stuck on wrong.
Well, it's on repeat. I am concerned just as much about this as I am for those domestic terrorists that are illegal aliens. We've imported all of these people that were causing the fires in California. So that's kind of a two-pronged issue here. We've got two different aspects going on, at least we know of. We have sleeper cells that may be creating these type of events we don't know of. How many other individuals or groups of individuals are going to be involved in creating the same kind of chaos to bring the country to its knees? It's really, really scary.
When you're negotiating with Iran, Mr. President, to what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all. That's the only thing that matters.
But we allowed another nation state in that general vicinity to steal secrets and material to build their own bombs, so they're in good shape.
Yes. Isn't it ironic that the only country that has ever used nuclear weapons against another country is the arbiter of who and who may not have nuclear weapons?
Well, we're a big sheriff in the neighborhood. So,
I'm not saying I'm comfortable with any nation having nukes, by the way, let alone our own. But this is the world that we live in. And also, I don't want Iran to have nukes either. I don't want anybody to have nukes. I think
would rather,
in general.
I would rather we do away with them. Unfortunately, that's not the case in some instances. And it really comes down to the only deterrent against use of nuclear weapons is other nuclear weapons, unless you come up with something better. At this point, we haven't, and I don't think we're going to. So, but it still doesn't give anybody the right to say, by the way, we can have them, but you can't.
Okay, maybe the secret was the music. Let me turn the music back because we lost our one viewer that we had. Maybe this is the secret. We got to have the late night talk show tune going. What do you think, folks? I'm flailing here. What do I do?
We'll do what we normally do, and if we get them, we get them. If we don't, we'll figure out something else.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I had a couple and then they disappeared as well. So
nukes are the deterrence against nation state fuckery is what it comes down to. If they didn't serve a purpose, we wouldn't have them. Total annihilation of one's enemies being on the table basically ensures that everybody else is well mannered and behaved. Now, the only reason why we're having these scuffles with Russia and Iran is because they're calling our bluff. They know that we cannot survive the international backlash of using nuclear weapons right now. And that's why we're having the scuffle that we're having right now. It's been a long time since we've used nukes. So They're calling our bluff. We're not going to use them.
Well, but I don't know
I
if you
hope that's the
saw
case.
Putin in conjunction with Belarus, and maybe I talked to you about this, were yesterday at least conducting nuclear tests with their rockets to make sure they're actually working. Which is a little alarming because they haven't done any kind of testing like that in at least 5 years or so. If they're readying their weapons, there may be something coming. Who knows?
For people to essentially snap and lash back at their employers for how they're being treated. We are in a situation where people can see that the wealthy are getting wealthier, that during the pandemic, billionaires quadrupled their wealth. And I'll get to more data on that in a minute here, while everybody else lost out. And if you continue not addressing the needs of the vast majority of people, the working class, people are going to begin to lash out like this. It should be a warning to those in power, politicians and the billionaires that control them. Things are only going to get worse, not because they should get worse in terms of the reactions like this, fires or whatever it is, but
yeah. And the other thing is, people don't know where to place their anger either. So it's going to you're going to wind up with people catching strays. And I think that's a vast majority of what we've been witnessing. Like this guy at the warehouse thinking he was taking it to the man, should have paid us more. Corporations are greedy. Yes, but it's certain corporations that are causing this crunch. It's not the warehouses. It's not the Amazons of the world. It's not Walmart or McDonald's that are doing this. They're playing their part, sure. And they do have mechanisms that they could pay you more and still be making record profits. In fact, there's an argument to be made that if they paid their employees more, it probably wouldn't affect their margins at all. Their margins might go up,
right?
Because their employees are going to be buying products from their own line of services and goods.
Well, they'll be able to afford the products, yes.
Yeah.
My concern in that instance is that he wasn't affecting the corporation as much as he was affecting the workers in that specific warehouse, that warehouse specifically, the dock workers that may be involved with that, the truckers that were taking things in and out of that place. There's too many little people that he actually affected. And the warehouse or whatever corporation had that warehouse had insurance. Didn't hurt them, probably made them money.
Yep.
So this doesn't really equate to anything real world. I understand his anger, but it didn't fix anything. It didn't make any changes in what is going to happen. So
no,
kind of a bad deal.
It's the monetary system. It's the debasement of our currency, and the speed at which that our money has been debased has increased in velocity. The velocity of money effect, which made this version of capitalism so wildly successful early on in its earlier iteration, is the exact mechanism that is hurting the middle and lower class so much right now. It's the same system. We're just at the other end of the spectrum with the money lending. We're at the bottom. We're not anywhere near the fire hose spigot of the money creation, and therefore we bear the burden when wages fail to adjust to the new paradigm, and they have. And the reason why this has happened is it's multifold, but the biggest one is because of the outsourcing of skilled labor to overseas. So there's no going back. There's no competing in this market price-wise, because the price point is where you're going to get slaughtered. You have to play this game, this international game of outsourcing labor to build stuff and then bring it back here. And that creates this cycle of wealth draining to the other country. In this case, China, but there's other countries wrapped up.
Yeah. But I have a rhetorical question, and and they really kind of pose it to everyone that may hear this. Are you or I or they ever been close to that spigot? I know I
No,
haven't.
no.
And I guarantee you that most of the people that we would reach are not on that level. It's a very disparaging gap between the haves and the have-nots.
Well, the property ladder is what really crunches people's finances down. The more out of reach home ownership becomes, the harder everything else in this cycle of life becomes as a result.
But owning a home is not an absolute, because if you don't have the money to upkeep that home, you might as well live in a cardboard box. Sorry.
True. That's true. But that is the first milestone, and that's the one most people understand. You don't have a working knowledge of Wall Street speculation when you get out of high school.
No,
And
nobody
most
does.
people, it takes a great deal of time and
Expenditure.
mentorship and experience and failures
Yeah.
to reach a point where you are making money off of that, unless
Right.
you have inside baseball knowledge of the Nancy Pelosi list of stuff to invest in.
Well, I am interested now because I've seen some statistics and I've seen some actual figures of people that are using AI to actually generate wealth.
But because of just the reality on the ground of what people are feeling and how you are setting people up to snap and react in a way that is ultimately not going to be beneficial to you if you continue propping up this system that is broken in favor of yourselves. Here is the NBC LA report on this.
Tonight, new video on social media has surfaced of what appears to be inside a warehouse as someone is going around the room starting several fires while talking about their salary.
All you had to do was pay us enough to live.
I don't know. I don't know what's going through his head, man.
We caught up with Alex Montero on Wednesday, who says he
Really? You don't know? You don't know. You know, bro. Everybody at that warehouse knows. Everybody not at that warehouse knows.
He was working the night this Kimberly-Clark warehouse along Hellman in Ontario caught fire. Montero is stunned to see this video because this person, he says, is his fellow co-worker, Shamil Abdul
we're just
Karim.
gonna skip
There
that.
goes your inventory.
Were evacuated.
Yeah, just started making good money, dude. You know, they called us, hoping to relocate us to another warehouse. You know, but if anyone else is hiring, you know.
All right, so I'm going to get to some reactions to this news, which again reminded me a bit of the reaction to Luigi Mangione. But that employer there, his coworker, says he was making good money. Sounds like he was a truck driver. He was the one that was unloading the truck. So I did do a little search. This is from Glassdoor. So again, these are estimates, averages here. But we can guess that the warehouse worker was maybe making around 37K to 46K, while the truck driver was making 60K to 88K. So there's a really good breakdown here. This is FM Smith 319 on TikTok. This is from a year ago.
It's not the overspending, it's the cost of living. Here is a breakdown of the average Gen Z and millennials' cost of living in today's world. So number one is rent. Everyone knows that Gen Z and millennials have to have a roommate. So splitting a 2-bedroom apartment with utilities is around $1,500. If you have a car, a $12,000 to $15,000 used car is still going to run you $400 a month. Car insurance and gas is another $300. Student loan payment, $500. You're going to have groceries for $500. You're going to have personal care, doctor's appointments, hair, gym, about $150, and then cell phone and miscellaneous $150. That's $3,500 a month, which is baseline. Do you know how much $3,500 a month is? $70,000 a year, or $34 an hour. Because after you take out taxes, put $300 for health insurance, and do a healthy $500 401k contribution, that leaves you with $3,500. This is no fun, no savings, no maintenance, no clothes, no kids, no traveling, no vacations, no bachelor parties, no weddings, no funerals, no clothes, no school supplies, nothing. And this is paycheck to paycheck. And on top of it, they're holding $40,000 of student loan debt, a $15,000 car. And if they ever wanted to buy a house with closing costs and the down payments, another $50,000. So they need $105,000. So even if they were somehow able to scrounge up after $70,000 of paycheck to paycheck, $5,000 to go to a concert, to have avocado toast, whatever it is, $5,000 a year, it would take them 20 years to pay off this debt and save up for a house. 20 years of living with a roommate where that rent's going up, and they're making $70,000 a year as a college graduate. The average person in this country makes $50,000. It is not the overspending. It is a cost of living crisis.
And that was a year ago. Things have only gone.
Okay, I think we get the idea here.
Well, but even in my realm, none of that is is doable. You talk about living paycheck to paycheck. We're not even doing that now because things have gone up so dramatically. Um, some things have to go on the back burner and maybe get paid or maybe not get paid or bought or not get bought. And it's just very hard. And we don't have a car payment. We don't have a insurance payment. We don't have a house payment. But we have a house that's falling down. We have cars that don't run. That's why we don't have insurance on them because they don't run. Um, so we're not really any better off than those people living in a cardboard box on the side of the road. Except I don't have to go out and beg for money, or beg for food. I just don't see any of us, unless things dramatically change, getting out of this in any way, shape, or form in a timely manner. I don't think I will see it change in my lifetime. I'm afraid my kids won't see it change in their lifetime. The grandkids, they may not even have a life. I don't know.
Well, the change that's coming is not a good one, and unfortunately, I am seeing more and more people leaning towards this accelerationist bent, where we just have to make things as bad as we can. Otherwise, we're just going to be stuck in this rut. And I used to think that was the wrong direction to go, but now I'm starting to think it's probably the only way you can go. We tried better. We voted for the people that made sense, that were saying the things that we all knew we needed changed around here.
And they lied.
And they lied, or they proved themselves to be ineffective in their roles. Yes, I'm talking about Donald Trump.
Or
and some
they've
other
been
voted
out of office.
They've been voted out of office, or in the case of Charlie Kirk, they just find ways of removing them from the chessboard altogether, the devil's chessboard that we're all stuck on
Playing
for
the
whatever
game with.
reason.
Yeah.
Nick Fuentes, I think this was a couple of days ago, in reaction to Thomas Massie losing his House seat, said, well, I'll vote for whoever will change this paradigm. Whoever will get this foreign money out of here, if it's red or blue, I don't care. If they're independent, I don't care. To a certain extent, I can understand where he's coming from.
I get the sentiment.
I will stand. I will stand with any man to do good and no man to do evil.
Yes. Yes, but there should be some thought that goes into what that would entail.
I'm going to tell you what it's going to entail. This is going to come down to state secession. There is no other way out of this malarkey, out of this bullshit left, right, up, down paradigm. This is not working. I said this during Biden's term as well. Did the Biden folks, the people that were backing Biden, get the thing that they voted for? No. And we didn't get it under Trump either. You might make the argument that we sort of got what Obama promised under his administration, although I'd argue that was not for the nation's betterment.
Yeah.
So, and I think Obama was the last president that actually followed through on the things he said he was going to do. I just wish the hell he hadn't.
Yeah.
Same thing with Bush.
The problem was he continued to follow through on what he promised, even after he left office.
Yeah, well, that's an entirely different can of worms. This is going to come down to state secession. because voting has proven demonstrably it does not work. This has been a decade of me observing things that the political landscape has shifted to this cult of personality mindset where we have to worship at the feet of somebody or you're on the out. And
a golden idol.
Yet we can't have nuanced conversations about, you know, policy failures, failure to launch at all on policies, and also things that are in direct opposition to what you ran on, and now all of a sudden you're doing it, and I feel like I'm being gaslit. And we can't even talk about the gaslighting now because we've tied in this foreign nation into the argument somehow. And now you're an anti-person if you try to talk about it at all. Hold on. Hold the fucking phone, dude. I don't care about the price of soybeans in China. We're talking about America. Can we get back on topic, please? I'm so fucking tired of this game, and I know I'm not the only one here. And like I keep saying, the boomers, a lot of these boomers that made this shitstorm possible, they're not going to be around during the 2028 election cycle. There's going to be another 10 to 15% less boomers by the time 2028 rolls around. And people are just done. You're going to wind up with the extremes because that is the only pocket of resistance that people are going to personally identify with enough to vote for. And when that doesn't work too, because it won't work, if we survive to 2028, if we survive to that point and then we still get the dud presidency and the cabinet members and the Senate and the Congress, and they just keep failing to deliver, if there's even a nation at that point anymore, and we're not already embroiled in civil conflict or an economic collapse, then you're going to start having serious talks of state secession. This already began years ago, the rumblings of it. We've got the Texit movement. You've got the Hawaiian exit movement. Alaska's in there in the mix too. And all of a sudden, these little fringe groups aren't going to be so fringe anymore because there aren't any other foreseeable answers, at least not ones that don't involve violence.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody wants to see that.
Let's talk, for example, Texas seceding. You already know the political environment in Texas is not what it appears to be. We are a red state. However, if you look at the cities and the counties,
they're blue.
They're all blue. And so those that are in power are going to continue to push their narrative and continue to lie and stay in power until they're reelected again. And then they're going to do whatever they want to do because they've already done that this year and the last, I guess, 2 years. That has greatly affected what goes on in the state of Texas. And I think that's going to be what you're going to see across most of these states when they decide to leave the union. But I could be wrong. We're going to have to wait and see.
Every change comes with growing pains.
It's a scary proposition, one way or the other.
It is, but you know what? The alternative is pretty fucking scary too.
Well,
because if we continue on down this path that we're already on right now, it leads to economic ruin. There's no two ways about it. Yeah, how are we going to be $60 trillion in debt in 4 years? And you think there's going to be no changes at all to individual Americans' personal finances? And people are already on the fucking ropes now to the point where you've got people Breaking Bad, setting fucking warehouses on fire, shooting CEOs of healthcare companies. And this is just the stuff that we're hearing about.
Yeah, among all the other crimes that we're unaware of. Yeah. Yeah, I think we've got to have a solution that matches our American values, not somebody else's values.
How about an honest store of labor? How about a currency that doesn't devaluate between the time I earn it and the time it hits my bank account?
Well, but then you get taxed on money when you get it. You get taxed on money when you spend it. They get taxed on the money that they receive. So by the time it gets to the bottom line, it's like 5 cents on a dollar that's actual real money. If you buy a house, you can buy it outright, but you have to pay taxes on it for the rest of your life. In some states, Virginia, for example, you buy a car, you can pay cash, but every year they're going to charge you a county tax or a city tax or both on owning that vehicle. It's a property tax. And that goes for a lot of states on a lot of different kinds of property. It doesn't make sense. Everybody's got their hand out and their leg up. Come on, man. Stop. We're supposed to have taxation without representation. Well, it's against taxation without representation. And that's basically what we have right now. We're getting taxed. We got no representatives that do a damn thing.
Yes. And the money that they're collecting, they're not wise stewards of either, which is the other problem. And it is never enough money. It's an ever increasing budget because the debasement of the currency keeps happening.
Well, they keep
primarily
giving the money away.
Primarily because the privatized side of the banking also employs this fractional reserve system, which is constantly devaluating the money also.
It just keeps
so the goalposts keep moving, and then they push housing into the speculative market. So
let's pump some more money into the economy. Let's just print some more out and pump it in. Yeah, that's really going to fix the problem. No, it's not. You're making the money worth less every time you do that. Sorry. I'm a little heated. But I just don't get it. Where is this going to end? Do we have anybody that has a clue? Apparently not in government. Sorry.
That bit you brought up from Bill Cooper's Behold the Pale Horse, the money as what do they call it? A conductor? Yeah, that's an eye-opening revelation, to say the least.
It's, if you really read that first chapter of Behold the Pale Horse, it makes a lot of sense, a lot more sense than you would think. When you understand the way he breaks it down and the way, I guess, some of the elite actually think of it, it is very, very basic and very understandable, and it does make sense. And if that's what they're doing, that's the way they work it, we're screwed.
That's just it. We don't understand where buying power actually originates from. And because of that, because we are so far removed from an honest currency system, the very prospect of moving back towards it is anathema to our current setup. Wall Street would collapse under its own weight. Everything would we would have to rebuild. Not just in the physical sense or the monetary sense, but in a mental sense.
Yeah, in a philosophical sense.
Yes.
And I, at this point, think that might be a very good, a very wise option if we were to go through and just
should be the case. The ending of Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged. You know, the builders are the richest in the society because they are the ones that contribute the most. They add the value to society. Builders have been stripped away from that in our current system. Now the richest people among us are the ones that push numbers around in the digital sphere, or the people pumping out slop, entertainment, or falsehoods, or playing children's games at a professional level, making millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. I'm not saying these are easy professions, mind you, but they're not really contributing anything to society either. no value would be lost if these professions just went away. None. We would lose nothing.
Well-
Society, the human race would continue to exist.
Well, yeah, because we're going to continue to pump out kids. But if the billionaires weren't the ones creating the tech, I think you would see a much larger group of the have-nots creating that same tech. It may take them a
Yes.
little longer.
And we'd probably have more of it too, more variety. Now, you'd also have more garbage also.
Well, yeah.
That'd be an unfortunate byproduct of that.
But that's a percentage thing, but you wouldn't have one person controlling a 50% of that particular market share, which is kind of ridiculous.
Hey. So I work in the operating room, and I just worked a 12-hour shift in the operating room, and I cannot afford my rent. I can't afford my rent. I can't afford gas. I can't afford groceries. I can't afford any of my endless other bills that I am responsible for because I am an adult. After working a 12-hour shift in the operating room. So you know what I have to do? I have to DoorDash, and it's 12:30 at night after I've been on my feet in the operating room for 12 hours all day. I'm now out DoorDash driving.
She's out beating the equity out of her car after DoorDashing. And sorry for the setup here. That wasn't cool. I was blocking her face.
That's okay. I mean, maybe at that level, maybe she doesn't need to have her face on, because it's the everyman. Everybody's doing the same thing.
Oh, I thought you meant something different.
No. Literally, we're all the same. Everybody's just trying to make a buck. Everybody's trying to keep their head above water. Everybody's, doing the best they can just to stay afloat. And in some instances, that's not working. That's not helping. We're all going down anyway. So I don't know, man. I feel her plight. I don't have any solutions, but just keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully things will get better.
The pay range for those jobs typically is above the 60K. So, I mean, she's not making minimum wage doing that job. And this is not the first occurrence I've heard of somebody that has that particular amount of pay and they're still struggling.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they're going to get into it or not, but I think the most likely reason why she is still struggling, even with that pay, is she's also paying off her student loan debt that's associated with that job, because she looks rather young. If I had to guess, she's probably mid-20s to early 30s.
Her 20s, maybe.
Concerning realities about life in America right now. Number one, the younger generations, they're feeling more hopeless about home ownership and retirement. Corporate greed and rising costs have people feeling trapped financially. And for the first time in a long time, parents generally worry that their children are going to struggle more than they did. For many years, people believe that in this country, if you did all the right things, that you could make a life for yourself and a future for yourself. And that hope, that dream is disappearing for so many people right now, because they're seeing that even though they're doing everything they need to do, that's becoming more and more out of reach.
In case you were curious what the housing market is like right now, my husband and I found a house that we absolutely loved, kind of a dream for us, on Thursday. We went and looked at it on Thursday. Put in an offer 10 grand over asking on Thursday. They had multiple offers already on Thursday. They decided, because they knew a bunch of people were going to be interested, to wait until Sunday, today, to do best and final offer, which means we had to put in our absolute best and final offer. We went up to 30 grand over asking, and we offered a $20,000 appraisal gap, which is if the house gets appraised for less than what you offered, you have to cover that gap with cash at the closing table. So we offered that. We also, in our offer, said that we're going to do inspections, but we're not going to ask them for any concessions or repairs. So if anything came back bad, they didn't have to fix it. Also, 3-week close.
Okay.
We didn't even stand a chance. We lost. They had 9 offers. 9. 9 offers.
Nine,
Somebody
nine,
offered,
nine,
I think,
nine,
30 or
nine.
50 grand over asking with a full appraisal gap, which means 40 or 50 grand. Like, I just actually want to die because now I'm depressed, and it was my dream house. And now someone else gets to have my dream house because I'm too poor. I love my life.
What's the cost of a one?
Okay, well, I think that was a sign from above that you probably shouldn't have been buying that house.
Maybe.
I'm just saying, like, that. This sounds like you were probably buying something you shouldn't have, anyways. Next.
Bedroom where you live, because if you're like the residents of Atlanta, Georgia, it's becoming increasingly unaffordable. I made a previous video about this where the average rent in Atlanta is $963. I should have clarified that's per person. And so when you take two people needing to have roommates now, the age group of 45 to 64 is increasing at a rapid rate over the last 20 years. They're basically bringing to the table about $810 on average. That buys them a one-bedroom apartment for $1,600 for two people. So if you're like the people of Atlanta, it is becoming absolutely unaffordable, unobtainable to even rent.
It's the same down here in Texas too.
Doesn't matter where you are. It's the same all over.
That's pretty much the national average. We looked this up last show, but it's floating between $1,200 and $1,800 a month for rent. It just depends on where you're at, and even at the lowest end, $1,200 a month for rent is fucking insane.
Well, and it doesn't buy you a very good location, a very good neighborhood, or even a very good rental property.
No, at that lower end, you're going to be living in the ghetto. You're going to be living with some melanated neighbors. You're going to be living with some din and racket. You're next to the train yard, next to the airport, next to the dump. It's probably not going to be the best conditions. You're going to have to, in order to upgrade, you're going to have to live with a bunch of roommates, like what he's talking about doing.
Yeah.
And this is nationwide. This is a problem. People should not be in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s living with roommates. This is America. We're not supposed to be India. We're not supposed to be Mexico. We're not supposed to be living with a bunch of randos. That's not the American dream. This is like, it's supposed to be a stepping stone, something people do for maybe a year or two, and then until they get their finances in order. And
while
then
they're getting organized and getting their life together, that's okay. But once you've got your finances situated, you should be able to actually own your own home or the beginnings of a home, and not have to have those randos where you don't know those individuals. You may be living with Ted Bundy for all you know.
The purpose of work is to work until you don't need to work anymore.
Well,
now, if you don't have that end step, and that's not part of the equation, and by the way, you can see that that's not part of the equation, then things start to break down.
But even, I don't know.
Let alone dreaming about buying a house.
I need to know the secret. Where y'all getting your money from? Because there's no way. There's no way that everybody.
I can't tell you, lady. I wish I could figure it out. We're sitting here trying to.
What they got, summertime goals, going on vacations, all that. Where y'all getting this bread from? And don't tell me it's a credit card, because I don't believe that. Somebody give me the source of where y'all getting this money from.
15-ish years ago, I was able to.
A lot of it is probably coming from credit cards, if we're being honest.
Well,
although I got a feeling that people are tapped out right now.
I know I am. Vacation? What the hell is that?
Never met them.
Anybody else have one of those? I don't know what that is. So
the last time I had a vacation was probably, it was over 10 years ago now.
Oh, dude, I was like 12. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't even equate to anything that I can put in words. It doesn't exist. Because even when you get to a certain level, even if you have your own home, you have things around the home to do when you're not working. Grass to cut, plumbing to work on, roof to fix, sidewalks to mend, trash to take out, animals to take care of. Every day you've got jobs that require your time that keep you from allowing, from wanting to have a vacation. You just not, it's not going to happen. So we've worked ourselves into this phenomenon where only a certain class of people are allowed to take vacations.
Yeah. I can't even have conversations with people that are talking about, oh yes, I went to blah 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 with my husband or with my wife, and I'm like, you're an alien, you're a space alien. I don't know, I can't understand the world that you're coming from.
Well, probably they're putting it on credit cards and paying high interest rates for whatever they're.
Well, I'm sure that's going on too. I'm sure that's going on, and they're going to wind up on Caleb Hammer in a year.
How did they manage to take time off to go to Vail to go snow skiing? What the hell is that? Doesn't make sense to me,
Ford,
I were able
a
to take
one-bedroom
time off.
luxury apartment off a $50,000 a year salary. I was just having a conversation with someone that worked for me a couple years ago, and she's signing her first job offer, making $106,000 a year right out of college. She, I don't believe, has student loan debt. Obviously, inner city is going to be more expensive. My apartment was in the suburbs of Boston. However, she cannot find a place to rent within reason without having at least 2 roommates. $106,000 with very financially responsible person. And it's wild when I have conversations with those that are in their 60s and 70s and truly don't understand the cost of living and why the birth rate is declining.
Yeah. People are not going to bring children into this world when they can barely afford to support themselves. I mean, this is basic logic. You don't need to be a math wizard to figure this shit out. Well, if you can't even feed yourself, you're not going to be bringing children into this world, at least not intentionally.
In the late 60s, early 70s, people were refusing to bring children into the world because of war. That was a whole different thing that was created by our government. We didn't need to be in war at that time. We just chose to be for some unknown reason. Supposedly fight the communists, but it didn't matter because the communists were still there. We didn't win that war. We lost a lot of good men, and those that came back were really screwed up, or at best they were totally ignored and spat on and treated very poorly, and are continuing to be treated as second-class citizens. A lot of them don't have health care, they don't have mental health, and some of them are actually living on the street where they're getting shot by criminals and even the police.
Yeah,
I don't think that's the way we should treat our military. Those individuals that go out and serve our country, put their lives on the line for something that we had nothing to do with as a people. It was only the government that was doing it. Sorry, that's another rant, but I understand her plight, her argument. At the most, I was looking at 6 figures and still having a problem paying the bills. Now I'm making way much less than that, and I'm still having a problem with bills.
Yeah.
I've reduced my expenditures, but it doesn't matter.
And you hit a certain threshold in pay, and the government takes like 50% of your fucking money too.
Yeah.
So there's diminishing returns on how much your labor can actually get you. You're forced to be a private business owner, so you can write off a lot of stuff. Then you can really start playing the game. But I forget how much it's like 100,000 or something is the cutoff to where you gotta start a.
Yeah.
Was it an LLC or something like? I forget what it is.
And that's I'm looking at an LLC.
An S corp.
Right,
that's what I was thinking of.
A what?
S corp.
Oh, well, no. What I'm looking at is a C corp. Or that's the first step, and then maybe an LLC. But a C corp is a little bit lower than an S. I'm not sure. I have to look at the details on that.
I don't know, Susie, because most people my age, and I'm a millennial, I'm 38, and most people my age and younger, they don't feel like they can responsibly take care of themselves. And so you want people to be responsible, because a lot of my friends with young kids, they have to have 2 salaries to afford life, but their childcare is the cost of their mortgage, if not more. And they bought homes at like a good time too. Like they have a really good interest rate. Like their mortgage isn't unaffordable as much as a lot of mortgages are now, but their childcare is their mortgage. So they're like owning 2 homes to have children, to be able to stay in the workforce so they can just afford life. That's why.
Thursday night.
Now, this doesn't really equate to anything, just my observation. It looked like her left hand was the one that she had on the screen. Her left hand did not have a ring on it, so therefore she's not married.
I don't know if you saw the tattoo on her finger, but some women do that when they don't want to bring their ring to work. I actually saw that quite a bit in the military, so I wouldn't be surprised if she's either former or current military of some kind.
Okay. And that, yeah, I saw the tattoo, but that's not absolutely 100% the truth. There are other reasons why they might have a tattoo on that finger.
I've seen that enough to know more than likely that is why she has that tattoo on her finger.
I just think at 38,
she might have a fat rock that she does not want to lose at work.
well, that's probably true. It just looks like, taking a look at her, she probably doesn't have kids. And at 38, she's probably not going to have kids, which again is reducing our population. That's very concerning. I've seen a lot of women at that age range not having kids because they're too busy working their jobs and being involved in their career.
Well, look at the society that we've engineered. It's basically a requirement. Unless she's going to go out and marry one of the Chad Thunderbucks that's out there. And that seems to be the bar for entry for dudes these days. I mean, one of these days we'll probably do a stream just talking about the dating market and how blown out that is.
Ridiculous it is, yeah. Go ahead.
Night, my wife went and got her hair done. I think it was like 110. My dog was groomed yesterday, and then me and 2 of my boys went and got haircuts. And it was, with $27 each with tip, it was about $100. And then our dog was $100 with tip.
All right, I'm skipping this. You lost me. I went to my dog groomer. Fuck you, Skip. Tell me your metro without telling me your metro.
During these times.
Me and my wife were both talking about the economy a few minutes ago.
Do you have a bandage on his head?
Whoa, what's going on here? What did I just stumble into? What did he just... Wait, is this you? Am I doxing you right now? What the fuck is going on? Hold on, do I gotta cut this part?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
And it's like I told her, I don't understand how people are making it today. I don't understand how people are living in this economy because everything is so freaking expensive that if you're not making $100,000 a year, I don't know how you're doing it. You're a hell of a lot better at managing money than I am. I can tell you that, because she goes to the grocery store 2 or 3 times a week, every week, and spends $100, $150 every time she goes. You cannot go to the grocery store now and get out for under $100.
Nope. Not gonna happen.
Man. Every week. I just buy for myself, and I'm not really buying like I get chicken, I get yogurt, I get some fruit.
Oh my God, you have meat and vegetables?
Right. Canned veggies, basic stuff, man. I'm not buying steak or venison or anything. And every time, $100 a week.
Yeah.
Every time.
And that's without like toilet paper and cleaning supplies or any of that stuff. Yeah.
When I got to do that, it's like 120, 150 when I need to top up on toiletries. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you might have 10 items. Well, probably, $100 ain't gonna buy you 10 items. But we never have anything in the house, and that's what got it started. I'm like, there's never anything to eat here. And she said, well, it's so freaking expensive. By the time you go buy for one meal, that's it. And she's right. That's true. And it just got me thinking, how are people doing it? How are people even feeding themselves, much less feeding a family?
Food banks.
They're not. That's why he has a black eye. He was
Yeah.
arguing with the wife over what she's spending.
You spent how much? Knocked his lights out.
If you're making a job with, $15, $16, $18 an hour, I don't know how you're doing it. I don't. How are you keeping yourself?
Roommates. Lots of roommates. That's how you're doing it. Or living out of your car or van or truck or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, different people are doing it different ways, but not everybody can afford roommates or have the capacity to have roommates or would allow a roommate in their home. If they have a home, I've tried roommates and I'll never do that again unless it's an absolute necessary. Because they were scamming us the whole time. And then if you're living out of a car, you have so many dangers in that aspect. You're better off to go find a hotel room somewhere and pay month to month. There's just so many instances where people are having to do differently with less and still not being able to make it. I don't know, man. It's getting crazy.
Alive and a roof over your head. I don't get it. I don't get it. You must be a hell of a lot better at managing money than I am.
We're talking about how unaffordable.
Nope. Oh, she's kind of cute.
It is to be in the US. I'm seeing all these videos. I would just like to say that it is 100% some kind of game, because I would buy the exact same L'Oreal shampoo and conditioner, the Revive like super gloss, exact same one for €6 in Spain. And it is $12 to $15 here.
Okay, well, I don't know if you know this or not, but there's something called an exchange rate, and the euro's worth different than the US dollar, so those products that she's talking about, I think they're made in France too.
Yeah, but I would argue too that when you put in the cost of shipping that in, shipping it to the store, putting it on the shelf, and then paying whoever is going to take care of that at the register, you add all those together, it's going to be twice the amount of money. So there's that aspect.
Yeah, you're paying for the all the different logistics that goes into shipping that product and whatnot. All right, well, let's see what else she had to say.
A piece. €6, $15. Same thing. Same exact thing. What? And the math on that is €6, it's $7. For it to be the same price would be $7 here. And I just bought shampoo and conditioner, and it was, I think, like 14 something for each. So $30.
Same thing if you go to the people that build them. Like if you want a brand new single wide, I went to Clayton Homes just to get a look around. Some of them single wides was going for $90,000. Oh, and that's just a single wide. Like that's not including the land, the permits, the hookup, all that shit. What are we doing? No, seriously, what are we doing? I can't even afford to buy a single wide trailer. What?
Okay, I've been meaning to do this, but I need to dig into Chris Hinckley's archive because he actually went into these private equity, which can we just call them pirate equity now?
Yeah, that's what they are.
These pirate equity groups got into the trailer parks about 5 years ago, and they just started gutting these places and jacking up the rents and stuff like that because they realized a lot of these folks are on fixed incomes and they can't move, like physically are unable to move. They're in the last years of the golden years of their life, if you will, and the affordability traps them there, unable to move. A lot of these places up on blocks, they can't move. If they try to move the house, it'll fall apart or whatever, and that costs money too. And then the other part of this shtick, excuse me, is because of the way pirate equity operates, is they go into a sector of business and they just hoover up as much shit as they can all at once. So before, they might have had the option to, okay, this place is raising their rates, let me just move to the other trailer park a few miles down the road or in the next county. Or no, Pirate Equity has bought all those places up as well. So you don't have the option of moving your trailer to a different place. They're charging the same thing. This is a cartel. This practice is supposed to be illegal in this country.
Well, it's supposed to be, but unfortunately they're allowing it to happen. And they're even if they're not buying it, their shell corporation is the one involved with it, so it still goes back to the same individuals. What I'm seeing though, rather than those mobile homes, the trailer house, these are people living in campers, camping trailers. They can buy a camping trailer for a lot less money. They can put it, they don't have to buy property to put it on. They can put it in a camping trailer lot, which there's a lot of those around. They can pay a smaller amount for space. They get electricity and water and basically sewer, because they can take it to the dump site and actually dump their trailer. They have less living space, so they have less to have to heat and cool. It's just easier to be able to live in a camping trailer than it is to get a single wide or a double wide mobile home. And those are popping up all over the place. And really for a good reason, because a lot of those individuals are not staying in one location, because the job that they have will eventually run out and they have to move to another location to get another job. It's just kind of crazy. We're living in this situation where nothing is permanent.
The permanence has been stripped away and monetized. You know, before it was about charging us for convenience, and now the business model is to find the things that are essential to life and make them as expensive as the market will bear. And
you know, like eating and taking a bath and having gas in your car and having a car. Yeah. All those have gone up tremendously. So.
Oh, I don't know. I have seen video after video after video talking about people talking about going into foreclosure, eviction notices, living paycheck to paycheck, and same. Yep, we are living paycheck to paycheck. And I got to think, I remember 14 years ago when my daughter was born, I had no money pretty much. I mean, I was working as a waitress. I was young. I was a freshman in college, thinking if I made this much money, I would be living stress-free. I do make that much money now. In fact, I make more money than that. I make good money. My husband makes good money. And we are living paycheck to paycheck. Just over the last 5 years, our car insurance has doubled, almost tripled, and no, we don't have any new tickets, no car accidents, nothing. Our phone bill has doubled, and I've paid off pretty much all of our phones. Still keeps going up. Our mortgage has gone up $600, $700 since we bought our house 5 years ago, just from an increase in homeowners insurance and property taxes. Our medical insurance has gone up. More money is being taken out of our paychecks or whatever.
Yeah.
Grocery bills.
Yep.
I don't even.
Okay. Yeah. It's just inflationary forces doing what inflationary forces are going to do. Your money's worth less. These things aren't going up in cost. Your dollar is going down in value. We could sum a lot of this stuff up with that. This is just the general public not understanding how fiat money works.
Yes, but to look at it from their perspective, that is true. It does look like everything's going up in price. It really is just the fact that your money doesn't really make a difference in what you're buying. You're making more money than you were before, but you have to pay more for whatever you're buying. Therefore, your money doesn't really equal what it used to equal. So, yeah, that's the real reality of it.
Now, if wages were keeping up with that inflationary force, then we wouldn't even be having this conversation, and I probably wouldn't even have a YouTube channel.
But if that were the case, we'd be living on some other planet or maybe another country, but not happening here, man. Not happening here.
Can't even fathom how much more it's gone up. At least $600 a month. Like, this blows my mind. Like, we worked our way from the bottom.
Okay, I get it.
I don't.
Skip.
There's so many videos.
Rampant. I still cannot believe that tap to pay works. We have this entire credit system. This entire economy is built on buy now, pay later, buy now, pay later, buy now, pay later.
Yes.
And at first,
yes, that's how they operate our government, by the way. That's how they've been operating it since we went on the fiat reserve system. 113, coming up on 114 years ago now. That's exactly, even before credit cards were a thing, the credit card for the U.S. government is us. We are the credit card. That we're constantly getting swiped, and that the little strip on the mag strip on it's getting pretty worn out right now.
Well, I'm about ready to get cut in half. Okay.
Sorry, man. Why did it spike out, man? That spiked me out pretty bad.
No.
Jeez.
You're good.
Designed as a good thing. It's people want to get a house, which they can't afford with the money that they earn from their drugstore. So the bank will give them a small loan with a small interest rate, and they'll pay it back over time, and everything will kind of square away. And now we've turned everything into that. That's why this is going to be so much worse than 2008. 2008 was only housing. That's the crazy thing. We talk about how 2008 hit all of these different sectors of
No, it wasn't just housing. Actually, it was primarily banking.
It was banking, and we had to bail them out. We did have an issue with housing around that time, but it's not anywhere near what it is today. And there's so many other aspects of the financial system that had, I guess, transmorphized or changed in a way that we're unaware what really happened to our financial system. I don't think anybody can really put a finger on it because there's too many variables. It's just everything has been so screwed up, and it's primarily been screwed up by the government.
Well, if you have a boat that has anchor chain and an anchor wrapped around it, and it's pulling it to the bottom of the ocean, the problem isn't the design of the boat. The problem is the chain and the anchor. In much the same way, that's how our monetary system is tanking average everyday Americans' lives, because there is a bar to entry to the fiat gambler, Wall Street system, and there is a ever smaller margin room of error associated with that. So if you don't succeed when you're gambling right off the bat, well, you're out of the game pretty quick.
Well, yeah. But are you saying we have a short chain?
Yes. Yeah, that's a better way to look at it. The chain is tightening.
And it's pulling the ship underwater.
It's pulling the ship being us. It's pulling us underwater.
Yeah, well.
And they're charging it now. The price for life preservers keeps going up.
If you can get one, yeah.
Yeah. For the limited quantity that are left. And by the way, that limited scarcity of life preservers is an artificial construct too.
The economy, but it's just because housing went down. It was because these banks and these
he got it. He got it.
Mortgage.
There you go, buddy.
Securities that people, the entire thing, they were just giving out bad.
They're waking up, man. The sheep are waking up. They're going to have to false flag us again pretty soon because the sheep are waking up.
Well, but what I knew but hadn't really thought about it this way before until I started reading Bill Cooper, the banks are actually taking in your money, and they're not really just loaning your money out. They're running notes against the money that you supposedly put in, but they're allowed to actually write more notes on that same amount of money.
Yes.
So they're generating more interest and more money off of the money they're supposedly holding.
Yeah.
Who knows if they actually have the money in the bank?
Yes.
It's like, do we really have gold in Fort Knox? We were supposed to find out, but of course, now we have a 20-foot golden statue that I think maybe that's where Fort Knox went. But
well, plated.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's how fractional reserve banking works. So it's not even a reserve really anymore because there's no controls over this. It used to be like it was a 10% reserve ratio, so you could lend out 90% of however much.
Yeah, but after 2008, they did away with that.
The Biden administration rather removed the restrictions. So it was set to 0% in 23. I think it was November or December of 23.
Yeah, but if you go back and look right after we had so many failures, in order to keep things afloat, they were allowing more allowances on the amount of money they had to keep in reserve.
Oh, I'm sure, man. And then you had all those banks that got bailed out with taxpayer money, and this was international, so everybody got screwed.
Now, let's say Exxon goes belly up. Are we going to have to pay for them to get bailed out because they're too big to fail?
The answer is yes.
If Walmart goes belly up, are we going to have to bail them out?
Yes.
If Joe Brown down the street gets bankrupt, do we have to bail him out?
No, you're fucked.
What's the difference? What's the difference?
After 11.
Have you seen Joe Brown? He's a big guy. He's too fat to fail, I guarantee you.
Loans to people who would never ever pay them back. So they're giving 5 loans to somebody who makes $20 an hour for 5 different houses. That's the Big Short. That's the entire thing. Now,
if they didn't do that, then they wouldn't be able to lend money out at all at this point, because we're at the point of the game where everybody's credit score sucks. And when you reach that point, these institutions cannot admit that the system is failing. They can't. And they need to stay in business, and the way they stay in business is through credit. So if the credit machine stops rolling, this whole thing falls apart. You can't have people paying off debt on a system where the money is based off of debt. Because if all the poors got together and we all paid off our debt, guess what? All the margins for these super rich mega corporations would evaporate overnight, and the whole game just falls apart. We might have to play on an even playing field again. If we could actually do deflation, which is, by the way, that's the mechanism you're describing right now. When you have everybody pay off their debt, you would get deflation. We can't do that, because then prices would actually start to normalize with people's wages. And that is not the intended end state for this thing. The intended end state is perpetual wage slavery, forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. You will own nothing. You will not be happy, but you won't be able to do jack shit about it because you'll be broke. And you'll have to spend all of your working hours, all of your living hours, working until you are dead, which hopefully they can facilitate to make that happen as quickly as possible by making your food junk, making the healthcare system suck, making it unaffordable, making it so you can't afford anywhere to live, making it so rent is unaffordable, making it so that both parents are working so you don't have kids, and if you do have kids, you're not paying much attention to them, and the whole fucking thing will just fall apart, and there'll be less of you poor people that we have to deal with. Hooray.
Oh, and by the way, we're sending your kids to war.
Yes. For the alpha males and females that are left over, that are smart, dedicated, go-get-ems, we're going to concoct a war to send them all off over to, so that way they're over there fighting the war instead of dealing with the bullshit that's happening here domestically. And I don't know where else to go with this, so here's a bell.
Well, since my last joke really fell flat, I have a little video here for you.
Want to pull some of your stuff up, man, or what do you want to do? I'm looking through mine right now.
Well, I mean, honestly, a little bit unprepared, but
let me see what you sent me earlier here.
Well, one of the things I sent you was you already talked about. That was early on. A couple of things were related to our conversations.
So here's one that hit my feed yesterday. I guess this is old, but still interesting and kind of in line with what we were talking about earlier. Car exploded by bull statue in New York City. No other info has been provided, but could be a terror attack. So
I thought that was kind of interesting. I wondered if it was a terrorist attack.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Jeez. Just another day in sunny New York City. It's not the end of the world, but you might be able to see it from here.
Yeah, pretty much. Ooh, that looks good. Sorry, I'm hungry.
It's all right, man. I don't think we're gonna go for much longer anyways. Oh, fuck. Never mind. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Here we go, man. Here we go. Breaking news.
Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Yeah, probably. Holy shit. Welcome to False Flag Central.
I just see that in DM. If that's it. Yeah.
What the fuck? Come on. Hold on.
30 shots outside the White House.
What did she do?
She's just getting down under the podium. They have like a portable podium she can do her broadcast from, but
I can't hear anything on it. I guess there were shots fired, but I couldn't hear it.
yeah, they said 30 shots, which I did hear a couple of shots. I didn't count 30, but you know, maybe they cut it. And some of those may have been return fire, so it's hard to tell until we get more, information on this particular topic. It's kind of a moot point because that could have been some gangbangers like across the street. We don't know. And if you know anything about DC, that's a possibility. So it's just weird coincidence that it happened right there at that time. And I can't say necessarily, false flag, because there are a lot of organic activities happening now. Yes, it does kind of fit in with the playbook, but we're just talking about people being upset and getting to their breaking point. And I think you're seeing a lot of people reaching that level of breaking where they might choose violence over discussion or peaceful means of effecting change. So it's just a really tough situation. But yeah, that's an interesting thing that we both saw it at the same time. I don't know specifically why he sent me that one, because I don't know what he was trying to tell me.
Maybe that'll bring in some more eyeballs here. We can see. They're saying apparent gunshots. I don't even know if they're actual gunshots. Let me re-up and see if maybe something new has come out. No, there's nothing new on it right now. It would help if this thing would actually organize by the latest information.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
White House just went into full lockdown. Dozens of gunshots fired outside complex minutes ago. Man, these are people just speculating. All right, I tell you what, man. I think we're gonna wrap it up here right now.
Okay.
Let me close out this stuff right now. Yeah, we've been going for about 2.5 hours now, so I might fire up another one, but I've got some stuff I gotta start doing around the house. So if you want to join in with me here, I'm just gonna end the stream here.
Okay.
So we can